Eric Lynn Wright is the most underappreciated, discredited, and overlooked person in the history of music and business. Everybody following his footsteps, yet very few give him his credit and praise. Jealousy and envy haunts his name since late 80s. Even the anti-Eazy-E campaign, which started from Ice Cube, still lives on today. No matter how many easy streets there will be, as long as people are not educated and as long as false accusations are presented as facts, his name will be dragged through the mud. The history is written by victors, they say. But in this case, it's written by those who are still alive and the narrative they impose. All these years we discuss only the case of his death, the conspiracy behind it, 2 iconic albums he was a part of, and same old story about artists being robbed at ruthless rap. Stop it, enough is enough. Let's get to the facts. I was working on this one since 2007 and I'm putting this episode out in 2024, the year of karma. Stay with me. Remember, those may hate you, but when you hate them, you destroy yourself. From now on, don't call him Eazy-E. It's Mr. Eric Lynn Wright for you haters. Chapter 1, Music Business. Before Ruthless, it was High Power Productions. Back from the days when Eric and Dre used to make these house parties in high school days and stuff like that. Straight to Audio Achievement Studio back in Torrance, where 2 then best friends were finishing up production for comedian Bobby Jimmy. Ruthless Records is basically the first black-owned company, real black-owned company. Label production company, I would say, built brick by brick, precisely. So Eric would basically flip a brick in the morning and then add another brick to his future venture and empire. Showing Jay Prince, Master P, 50 Cent, Cameron, Nipsey Hussle, Yo Gotti, Top Dog, and the list goes on and on and on, how to reinvest. Years we fight over who was the first one to put the artist mixtape out. Was it Dipset or maybe was it G-Unit? Nah, it was Eric Wright, back in his garage with Jinx, Dre, Rendezvous, Crazy D, and the rest of the guys who was there day one. So should I even talk about transitioning to selling the mixtapes on a swap meet and then selling the first single, Boys in the Hood, Out of the Trunk? Because the whole Out of the Trunk thing basically is coming from Eric Wright. Once man real life story turned out to be every other rapper's story. The whole mixtape game was created in that garage in Eastside Compton in the Kelly Park area where Eric used to reside. He secured multiple distribution deals. We're talking about Atlantic, Priority, MCA, Epic, Giant, Relativity. He was completely aware of not to put all the eggs just in one basket. It wasn't heard of back in the days. All these major companies were not interested in distributing rap music. Most of the people used to say it will never sell. I mean, they can say what they want to say, but we can see how hip-hop became the most popular genre of music today. It was even crazier to see an ex-drug dealer from Compton receiving those $10 million checks, which went straight to his company in his pocket. So 10 mil from Epic, easy. $35 million check from Relativity, sure enough, sounds good. It was even hilarious because sometimes Eric would get mistaken for a message boy up in those big corporate buildings, and he would be waiting for his meetings with big CEOs and executives, and secretaries would just think he's a message boy. It's still hilarious to me. Putting Electropop Supersonic out first to finance Easy Does It and Straight Outta Compton album was a chess move. And it goes deeper than that. Let me explain why. JJ Fad basically made local indie record company into major, successful, established record company. The gold plaque and Grammy nomination? Come on. Freedom is expensive, but Mr. Right made sure his artists had no limits creatively. Fair deals from the jump. Yeah, I just said it. Fair deals. Splitting publishing 50-50 sounds crazy to music business even right now. Coming artists would start with like 12 points, and how come he signs these boys from Midwest and he's not giving them $100,000 each? It doesn't sound like a 5-year deal, right? When you get that 100,000. Spend 5 to 6 months to put the record out instead of wasting the whole year or two. So there were no boundaries, no censorship, no cloud chasing. Eric demanded originality from his artists, and it paid off. Everything you heard from Ruthless Records acts was real. Should I mention how CEO of the biggest label did not hesitate to save his artist's children's life out of his own pocket? So stop the nonsense. Independence is not cheap, but it's worth it. And I'll tell you why. The best example is Ice-T has to listen to his boss when they tell him he needs to take one of his records off of his new album. Eric Wright didn't have to answer to nobody. You create any type of music. You use profanity or not, doesn't matter. You want to do a jazz album, love ballad, gangster raps, still doesn't matter. So Eric knew the importance of momentum as well. And he successfully used EP albums as profitable promotional tools. Before you hear Evil for Zagging after the Straight Outta Compton album was out, go and get 100 Miles and Running. And if you love that album, Living Like Hustlers from Above the Law, and you can't wait for that Black Mafia Life album, just go get Vocally Pimpin'. And you're not getting Straight Off the Streets of Compton. It was a double album, the first planned double album in rap music back in those days, unless you got its own Dr. Dre killer. So for God's sake, just get creeping on the comic right before the East 99 is out. Being visionary is not always a blessing, some might say. You praise Dre for signing Eminem. Okay. But you don't show love to Eric Wright for co-signing the first white female rapper Terry B and Blood of Abraham. We salute Jermaine Dupri for being able to work with kids, and we just forget about 16-year-old will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas representing Ruthless Records back in 1992. You can laugh at Dame for fussing about that Def Jam jackets, but you think the little mistakes you make? You should know that Eric Wright got his jackets for his NWA group for the tour in '88 with no problem. You know Migas and Diplomats for their appearance on stage and in music videos, right? What about 5 dangerous young men in black wearing Raiders hats? MTV and radio ban you? No problem, you just go on tour with your group. So you create enough buzz throughout the whole tour and you go platinum. That's why we love 50 for Get Rich or Die Trying album and the latest tour he did when the writers went on strike. You might as well put a DVD out on VHS with new exclusive music videos as well. So while most of MCs start with big labels, Eric Wright was the highest paid musician. He was getting 68 cents per album sale. Only Michael Jackson made more than that. Artists would eventually pass by Mr. Wright's office. If it doesn't matter you Queen Latifah or Tupac Shakur or Tretch from Naughty by Nature, you pass him by. And I'll tell you why. The thing is, it was the first successful indie label. And as an artist, you had an opportunity to just roll with your wings open and create any type of music you're interested in. So some of the people got signed and shared proceeds with Young Mogul when leaving to another label, and some would have to go back to Interscope to fight for Thug Life album. Some say that some of these people even reached out to Eric Wright from Penitentiary with an offer to become a CEO of Death Row Records through Keffe D. Way before 50 left all the way to the bank, with GU not copyright ownership, Eric Wright made already 6 to 7 figures off of everything Dre touched for the 6 or 7 years. It was brilliant to develop 2 revenue streams from the conflict. Get paid when you get dissed, and get paid when you diss your ops back. After success of legendary group from Midwest, he started developing Ruthless South and Ruthless East to expand beyond the West Coast market. The label had gangsters, conscious rappers, hoes with attitude, hustlers, singers, thugs, kids, Jews, and Latinos all under one roof. Eric had an ear for talent, and I'm not talking about artists right now. Snatching young DJ Quick to produce Penthouse Players Click album in the midst of Dre's departure from Ruthless is just wicked. If you know, you know. And I'm not even mentioning DJ Unique. You guys go and do your homework. The label also worked on a soundtrack for the box office hits Coming to America, Deep Covers, CB4, Beverly Hills Cop 3, Batman and Robin. Ruthless Records is the most successful startup record company in the history of music business today. Show me another example of indie label outselling the majors, doing $10 million in revenue a month with just 6 employees and no typewriter in the office. I'll wait. Chapter 2, Marketing, Promotion. A gifted person is good at everything. Everybody knows famous story of Eric using intimidating FBI letter to promote Straight Outta Compton album and tour. We are familiar with his publicity stunt at the White House. I mean, the guy paid $1,500 to get millions of dollars worth of press. How many of you know that he publicly supported one of the cops who was in a group of other cops beating up Rodney King back in 1992? At the same time, he was trolling reporters during the LA riots. He was wondering and asking them that somebody should come up with the F the Police song. We will come back to trolling later. Now, what do all these cases have in common? And I'll tell you, the main objective here is to stay relevant in the public eye organically. Conspiracy sells records. Any publicity is good publicity. Let's connect the dots. Stay with me. Now that we heard your gangster rap record, it's about time to focus on the visual. Bulletproof vest on a national TV? Check. Right was shot point blank 6 times back in the Range Boys days. So that makes him the first one to get rich or die trying. You see guns during interviews, guns on posters, guns on albums. You even hear the shots during the live performances. Don't get me started on flamethrowers in music videos and grenades for magazine photo shoots. I'm more curious about the bazooka he used to stash in his Mercedes-Benz back in those days. If this guy's next album is called Temporary Insane, let him throw rocks at the camera on the set of 100 Miles and Running. Let him wear a hockey mask on Arsenio Hall's show and stay quiet for the whole interview. And pose in straight jackets for magazines and newspapers. That's promotion and branding one-on-one. Do you know what's the difference between Howard Stern and Michael Small interview? On one interview, Eric says he doesn't use protection. On another interview, he says he does because of AIDS epidemic. Why? It's all about the platform. Only about the platform. Because we're talking about millions of people tuning in to the biggest hit show. So you might just add some shock value. Shed a little bit of light on misconceptions, then talk trash, admit to making people buy your records with the gun, hint at money tree in your backyard, stay away from religion, colors, and don't forget to remind everybody that they have their own freedom of choice. Ex-Kelly Park hustler could easily conduct media training for artists today. Guns N' Roses just went triple diamond. So how about Axl wears an NWA snapback and approves of using the name of his band's iconic album for your next song? This is the perfect case of prolific bridging of the audience. Should there be any surprises that Middle America fell in love with Straight Outta Compton album so much? Not at all. Imagine being a founder of a music label. So you sign a group with outstanding style and sound. How would you promote something so special? play their first single every hour on your own radio show on Saturdays from 6 to 9 for 4 months straight, until the record goes double platinum. DJ Paul called E the smartest rapper for a reason.
Easy.
Chapter 3. Business. Chuck D used to say that all Eric cared about was his pockets. Well, that's a bold statement, but what's wrong with that? If young John Singleton wants to shoot his blistering big screen debut, he better pay Eric Wright $50,000 for the rights first. And you can get sensitive all you want, but business is business. 3 years prior to that, the young CEO made sure the label on the bottle doesn't get on camera during Fab Five Freddy interview. It's another example of product placement knowledge. And by the way, unlike other rappers in the 90s, Eric never participated in Boost commercials. Instead, he would do a PSA for a fire safety. By the way, guys, did you like that new Deadpool movie? If you ever heard of Rob Liefeld? Well, that's the creator of Deadpool. Rob was developing the first, let's say, hip-hop comic book called The Hood with and for Eric Wright since they met in 1992. Chuck Jones was also on board on that project with the mission to breathe life into the characters. Look the sketches up online. He was ready to move from record sales to comic sales. It would be the world's first hip-hop comic book since Rappin' Max Robert. Eric got offers from film and TV execs on the table since the 80s. He was also approached to play Old Dog in Menace to Society and Lil Chris in Boys in the Hood, and he turned it all down. He financed his own film production company, Broken Chair Flicks, back in early 1991, and he co-wrote his own film, Smiling Faces. As a promo to NWA's second LP, he put out Eiffel for Zaggin' VHS home video out with exclusive footage of behind the scenes and music videos, basically inspiring young Smack DVD and Sub-Zero along other DVD pioneers. Mr. Wright is the reason Ice Cube created Cube Vision. Master P did his independent Hood movies, which led us to all-time favorites, Kill Season and Power from G-Unit Films and Television. Classic example of snowball effect. I want to remind DJ Envy that his son won't be able to inherit Breakfast Club Show or Power 105. Feel better now. You love Funkmaster Flex show on Height 97, Big Boy Neighborhood, Sway in the Morning on Shade 45. Then cherish Eric Wright. Back in the summer of 1994, he created the Ruthless Radio Show on 92.2 The Beat, along with Tony G, Julio G, DJ Yella, and Jesse Collins, among others. #1 West Coast show hosted live concerts, interviewed special guests, had exclusive freestyle sessions, and played the hottest charting songs. Eric also brought the open mic concept to the radio game. He would have unsigned artists perform live on air. Master P praises E till this day for giving his underground hit Bout It Bout It a massive exposure by playing it on the show. Mr. Wright organized and headlined the last biggest summer jam festival in California back in August 1994, right before complete Hot 97 takeover in early 2000s. No wonder Eric was approached to buy K-Day, but Little Big Man had a whole different game plan. The Ruthless Radio Show was created to break Bone Thugs and to learn inner workings of 92.3 The Beat, to start his own radio station K-Eazy-E in Arizona. 94 was a busy year. He did an exclusive deal with Nintendo, working on a video game called Hitting Switches, with the same concept and gameplay we all fell in love with later on thanks to Rockstar. He also financed virtual reality game with interactive vests. In 1995, Eric planned to enter the tech market with his car sound system, Ruthless Bass Shakers. Why do I feel like I caught Dre and Jimmy cheating during exams? Seems like we underestimate this man's business acumen and grind. Despite all the success, he loved talking to people, passing his business card to everybody on his way. Thousands of messages and beeps would come through, piling up, and he would take time to call everybody back. Mr. Wright is underappreciated, multi-layered businessman, gifted with foresight. He's the tree from which your favorite entertainers and hustlers are branched today. Chapter 4. Persona. The first hip-hop troll is Eric Lynn Wright. The audacity to hire the same Eazy-E lookalike from Dre Day music video for Real Compton City G's video is savage. Rest in peace AJ Johnson, by the way. But where did the concept of lookalikes in these music videos come from? Oh yeah, it became a thing in hip-hop since E pushed DOC to play Ice Cube in those NWA home video tapes. Now picture this. Suge Knight threatens your teammates not to play any songs from Snoop's album or else. When your boss hears about it, he makes you play the whole Death Row Records catalog that same day. There are 3 things you can watch forever: this episode, funny cat videos, and Bully getting bullied. Those infamous Dre photos wearing lipstick and mascara all over the TV, from Arsenio Hall show to MTV, and on actual albums, had millions of people and fans all around the world just cracking up. Let me know in the comments what's worse, by the way, being called Officer Ricky or Dre the Cabbage Patch. I'm sure Yella didn't enjoy going to the bank with a fake $100,000 check with Mickey Mouse signature on it. Just imagine Eric Wright on social media today. But behind all this is a caring leader, ladies' man, first hip-hop skateboarder, way before Lil Wayne, and colorblind individual who did a lot of charity. Multi-millionaire would dress as Santa Claus on Christmas to distribute gifts, give out turkeys to families in need on Thanksgivings, talk to juveniles, and create opportunities for lost souls looking for change. At the same time, you might as well get shot by him with a paintball gun. Don't get it twisted. You make this little tank mad and you're getting knocked the out with his left hook. Remember, he doesn't know karate, but he for sure knows crazy. And the founder of Rat Pack ended up being a great dad, just great dad to all his kids. I present you the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Lynn Wright. Stay sucker free in 2025. We'll see you next episode.